One of the blessings of being a business coach is the privilege I get to work with women who are starting businesses or have a goal to start a business and they're working a 9 to 5. And when I get into conversation with such women, I can feel the frustration, I can feel the overwhelm, I can feel the frustration of not knowing what to do, how to do it, how everything comes together. Then they go on social media and they're like, I see other people launching business. They seem to know what to do, but I'm over here struggling, trying to piece it all together, not even knowing what foundational pieces I need to set up to be able to launch confidently and launch my stuff out into the world. In today's episode, I take you behind the scenes and show you how I help my client to set up her business foundations in just 1 week. Talk about registering your business to creating all the foundational pieces so that she could launch her coaching business confidently. If you're ready to start your business the right way, pop in those earbuds, lace those shoes, and let's get started. Welcome to Start That Business podcast, where I help Christian moms working a corporate job launch their first coaching and consulting business from scratch without quitting their jobs yet. If that sounds like you, you are in the right place. My name is Chichi Okomadu. I am a Jesus follower, a service-based entrepreneur for 13 years, a wife, a mom of 3, and a Christian business coach. I knew I was called to start a business, but I struggled with lack of clarity, self-doubt, and the fear of being a public failure. My lack of courage kept me stuck until I traded it for faith and obedience to God's calling. You don't have to stay stuck in fear, doubt, or lack of clarity. God has already equipped you to launch the business He has placed in your heart. It's time to partner with God and start your business. Your expertise is needed, your calling is real, and I'm here to help you make it a reality. In the month of July, I started a series called From Job to Business. 5 steps you need to take to go from job to business. And it was such a powerful series walking through the 5 steps. I talked about getting clarity on your transition because you're working a corporate job and you have this business God has laid on your heart and you're trying to make the transition, but there are a lot of things you do not know. There are a lot of things you need to figure out. You have a steady job you're working. You need to figure out how you're going to replace your income. All those details need to be figured out before you make that transition. You need to decide what your strategy would be to transition. Are you going to just quit and transition, or are you going to do it slowly? Are you going to start the business first and build some traction and sales, then slowly transition? So I talked about all of that in that series. And this was in July. It was 5 episodes I did talking through these steps. By the last week, I think it was the last day in July, I received an email for a booking for a transition clarity call in my email. I was over the moon. I'm like, yes, let's do this. So I get on the transition call and I walk my client through all the things we did on the call, asking questions, getting information from her, helping her see what she had already done up to that point, and showing her that she already knows a lot to be able to launch with what she has. And it was such an uplifting and empowering conversation. I would not forget the email she sent me after that call, just expressing how she felt so encouraged and she felt more confident in wanting to pursue her life coaching business. So during the call, I pitched my one-on-one coaching offer to her to help her actually build out the life coaching business. And guess what? She signed up immediately. I was like, wait, what? Did you just sign up? She signed up and we started the journey to create her life coaching business in 30 days, in 4 weeks. We started the journey. By the way, if you want to get the same help that my client got to launch her life coaching business or to launch your consulting business, and you're unclear on what you need to do, I invite you to take the first step to get clarity, just like she did. Go to From Job to Business and book your clarity call. During the call, we'll answer questions that will help uncover the challenges you're facing in starting your coaching and consulting business, the problems those challenges are creating, how they are affecting you. By the end of the call, you will have clarity like she did. You will be more confident in what you need to do, and you will decide if working with me is the next best step for you. When I started working with her on week 1, we focused on building her foundation. I call this the business foundation because think about starting a business like building a house. When you're building a house, the first thing you do is to lay the foundation because the entire structure of the business, the walls, the windows, the doors, the fancy things that are inside is all going to sit on the foundation. So if the foundation is not set up right, whatever structure you build on it is going to crumble. So that's why in week 1, I focused on building her foundation. And when I talk about business foundation, I'm not just talking about legal, financial. I'm also talking about the mental foundation, your mindset. Because I realized that in my business journey, if your mind is not set in the right direction, you can't really build a sustainable or profitable business on it. So you can build a thriving, sustainable, or profitable business on a fixed mindset. These were the things we worked on in the first week to build her business foundation. So I started her out with a mindset masterclass. This was a 1-hour call with executive coach Samuel. You would have heard him on this podcast. If you have not listened to him, I will drop his episode in the podcast description for you to go listen to him. He is such a powerhouse when it comes to mindset coaching. So my client starts with a mindset masterclass with Coach Samuel. It's a 1-hour call where he takes her through the mindset foundation she needs to be able to start her business. Because when you are an employee, there's a certain mindset you have working as an employee, but when you become an entrepreneur, or when you're transitioning to becoming an entrepreneur, the mindset that served you as an employee will not work for you as an entrepreneur. So that shift needs to happen, and that's what we spend time doing to set that foundation. Once we're done setting the mindset foundation, the next thing I did with her was to define the goal that she wants to accomplish, then set up a goal achievement system. Now, my favorite quote when it comes to goals is from James Clear. It's from his book, Atomic Habits. James Clear says that you do not rise to the level of your goal, you fall to the level of your system. So that's why we spend time defining the goal when we're building the foundation. Her goal was to launch a minimum viable life coaching business from scratch by September 10th, 2005. So that goal was very clear. But if we didn't build the goal achievement system to make that goal possible, it would have just stopped at a goal because she won't have the right system to be able to bring it to fruition. So that was the next thing we did, spending time to create the goal achievement system. Now, in the goal achievement system, there were two things we worked on there. The first one was her weekly schedule. So I asked her the question, when are you going to work on this goal every day during the week? Or what schedule are you setting to work on this goal? And for her, she set a schedule to work on her goal for 1 hour from Monday to Saturday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. That was the goal she set for herself, something along that line. Setting that schedule was a system we're putting in place, was a time management system we're putting in place to make sure that her goal was worked on every day. So that's the first thing we did in the goal achievement system. After setting the weekly schedule, the next thing we did was to set a daily habit. So a daily habit was like a routine or series of things she does when she sits down at 7 p.m. on a Monday to Saturday to work on her goal. What are the routine that she's going to follow to make sure that she maximizes her time during that scheduled spot? We created a routine so that when she sits down at 7 p.m., she knows, okay, this is the first thing I do, then I do this next, then I do this next, so that her brain is not wandering. She's not on her phone scrolling around. She's focused during that 1 hour block to work on her goal and accomplish the task that is set for her. And the way I structured her task, her weekly task, it was enough for her to get it done within an hour so that when she came back from work, she could eat dinner, settle the kids, and maybe by 7 p.m., jump on working on her goal. And when she's done, she can continue with her evening. So she was working a 9 to 5, but with this weekly structure or weekly system or schedule that we set in place, it made sure that she was able to work on her goal for 1 hour. And another thing that we also put in place in terms of her schedule, she had accountability. So she had a time that she needed to turn in her work for me to review every day. So that kept her on her toes. So even if she was feeling tired coming back from work, she knew that, okay, I need to send this to Chichi today for her to review, because the way I set up the coaching structure is for you to unlock the next day's work, you have to finish the previous day's work. So she knew that if she doesn't sit down and work on the goal for 1 hour, she will not be able to see the task that she had to work on the next day. So the weekly schedule, the daily habit, and the accountability was the goal achievement system that we put in place to make sure that her goal was inevitable. Once we're done doing that, the next thing we worked on, still under her business foundation, was to set up her legal structure and her legal documents and everything else to make sure that it's a seamless process to collect maybe signatures from clients when they sign contracts and all of that. So when we set up the legal structure, we set up her legal entity. I have partnered with lawyers who help my clients set up their legal entity, who help my clients with contracts for their service-based businesses. So depending on the service-based business you're starting, the lawyers that I've partnered with, they have contracts for different service-based business. So I connected her with my lawyer partners. She's able to get her legal entity set up, get her contract set up. We also set up her e-signature software so that when she has a coaching client, she can upload her contract into her e-signature software, email it to her coaching client. The client can sign digitally and send it back to her. We also set up her policies, privacy policy, terms of service. All this was a bundle she purchased with one of my lawyer partners that I work with my clients to make sure that their legal side of their business is properly set up. Now, once we're done with the legal, the next thing we set up was her accounting foundation, her accounting structure. Here, we set up her business bank account. So I helped her shortlist a couple of banks that she could go open the account with. And she started the account opening process to open up her business account. We also selected a payment method that we were going to use. She also set up her accounting software. Now, your payment method is different from your accounting software. Your payment method is like your PayPal, your Stripe, your any other checkout system or software that you use to actually collect the payment. Now, your accounting software is where you manage your books. Your bookkeeping is where you manage all things financial. So it pulls from your payment method, it pulls from your bank account, and your accountant is able to see all the transactions that are going on in your business. So we set up that accounting software. I gave her two options to choose from. She picked one. We set it up. We also set up her expense management spreadsheet. When you're starting a business, there's a lot of expenses that you're doing. You're paying for software, you're paying for the legal entity you're setting up, you're paying for the contracts you're buying. All those things, we need to track those expenses because those are one-time expenses, because once you register your business, you're not registering it every month, you register it once. So we set up our expense management spreadsheet to track one-time business launch cost and recurring monthly expenses. So now she has an accounting software, she has to pay for it, other things she needs to be paying for. So we set that up in the accounting foundation. Now, once we were done with that, the next thing we worked on, all this in 1 week. So every day we focused on one category that I've mentioned. The next thing we worked on was her branding. Now, this was my favorite during this week, setting up her branding here. Now, during the transition clarity call, one of the things you get during that call is a transition clarity blueprint. In that blueprint, based on the questions I ask you and you answer, I'm able to establish your messaging and the niche that you want to serve. So we did that in the transition clarity call, which was a great input when we were working on her branding, because we had the messaging set up, we had her niche, we had a good idea of who she was trying to serve, what she was trying to do. So it helped us move quickly in the branding piece. During the branding, I helped her decide on her business name. She was able to pick a business name. We registered her domain for her business. So we did the domain name registration. We also scheduled a headshot for her photo shoot. When you're launching a new business, you need to have professional photos because you want your client to see you as the professional you are and not an amateur. So you can't just take a photo with your phone and just put it on your website. No, you will need at the most a headshot. So we scheduled her headshot photo shoot during this week, and we also did her mini branding. So during the mini branding, I took her through a mini branding session. As a computer science major with emphasis on design, I have a good eye for design. So I was able to walk her through a process of picking a logo, selecting her brand font, selecting her brand colors, selecting her brand adjectives. Her brand adjectives are the words that describe her brand or the words that she wants her clients to feel when they engage with her brand. I also did a mini brand guideline to show her how to combine these brand elements. after we worked on the branding, the last thing we worked on in building her business foundation was her business systems. Now, when you're starting a new business, there are a lot of systems that you need to set up, but you don't need to do everything all at once. So we focused on the systems we needed to get going to set up her foundation. We set up her email system. So she registered for a new business email for her email. And I also set up a custom email signature for her so that when she sends email to clients, they see her custom email signature with the email. We also set up her Google Drive folder system. Now, a Google Drive folder system just is an organization system that we created to organize all her documents, all her branding elements, her coaching offer, everything that she will create in the business. I walked her through a method to be able to set that in place so that things are not everywhere. She knows where to find all the things that she worked on in her business foundation and the things she worked on in the coming weeks. So at the end of this week, my client officially established her business legally, and she was confidently ready to launch just in 1 week. Yes, it was a lot of action taken because every day she had a task that she needed to complete, and she needed to get it done in an hour to unlock the next task. So if you want the same help that my client got, everything I just described, if you want to get that same help to launch your coaching and consulting business, you are unclear on what to do, where to start, I invite you to take the first step. Go book your clarity call. Go to fromjobtobusiness.com and book your clarity call so that I can get the information I need to build your business foundation just like I did for my client. I pray that God will establish the work of your hands and give you wisdom as you build this business on a firm foundation as He's calling you to do. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I pray it made you feel seen, taught you something new, and encouraged you to take action. If so, would you please share this episode with someone in your world who needs help to transition from a corporate job to a thriving business? If today's episode resonated with you and you're ready to move from wondering to doing, I invite you to go to fromjobtobusiness.com to book your transition clarity call today. In just 60 minutes, you will get clarity from where you are now to where God is calling you to be in your business. You will leave with confidence and concrete next steps. Lastly, it will be a huge blessing to me if you could leave a review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts or the podcast app you are using to listen. This is the number one way I know you are getting value from the podcast. Until next time, always remember your expertise is needed, your calling is real, and I'm here to help you make it happen. So keep listening for more episodes. I'll meet you here next week.